Lucas Knight was one of the youngest billionaires in the country, the CEO of Knight Enterprises. He had wealth beyond imagination, power in every corner of the business world, and a mansion so large it had wings he hadn't visited in years. But none of that gave him peace. Every woman he met seemed to want something: his money, his name, his lifestyle. He'd been cheated, manipulated, even proposed to, all without being loved for who he really was. So one day, Lucas made a drastic decision. He fired his assistant, locked up his private cars, and told the world he was going on a business retreat. Instead, he took on a fake identity, Luke Dawson, an ordinary man looking for work in a small town on the coast. In the sleepy seaside town of Willow Bay, Luke found himself at a humble cafe called Hazel and Honey. The coffee was average, the music old, but the woman behind the counter, unforgettable. Sophie Blake, fierce, funny, with eyes that could disarm the sharpest tongue. She had a stubborn streak, ran the cafe alone, and didn't hesitate to call out a rude customer or defend a stray dog. Luke was instantly captivated. He asked for a part-time job. She laughed. "You don't look like you've worked a day in your life." But when her dishwasher broke down and he fixed it like a pro, she agreed to let him help out. Days turned into weeks. He served coffee, swept floors, learned to make latte art, and every evening, they talked about life, about dreams, about books and family. Not once did she ask about his past, his money, or his plans. She liked Luke for how he made her feel safe, seen, and maybe, just maybe, loved. Their bond grew quietly. She taught him to bake blueberry scones. He helped repair her leaky roof. They shared childhood stories, danced to old records, and watched sunsets over the pier. One night, after a long shift, Luke kissed her under the stars. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't scripted, but it was real. And for the first time in years, Lucas Knight felt something more powerful than control: trust. But secrets, no matter how well buried, always rise. One rainy afternoon, a black Rolls-Royce pulled up in front of the cafe. A well-dressed man stepped out and handed Luke a sealed envelope. Sophie watched from behind the counter, confused. "You've been gone 3 months, sir," the man said. "Your board is demanding your return. The press is catching on. And your fiancé." Luke's face drained. "I don't have a fiancé." Sophie stepped forward, her voice barely above a whisper. "Sir?" The man looked between them, then added, "Mr. Lucas Knight, you need to come back." Silence, crushing, devastating silence. Sophie's hands trembled. "Lucas Knight, the billionaire." Luke tried to explain, but Sophie backed away. "You lied to me. Every day. I needed to know if someone could love me without the money, without the name." She looked at him, eyes full of hurt. "And what about what I needed? Honesty, respect, trust." Lucas returned to his empire. Headlines swirled. Stock prices shifted. The media painted wild stories about his disappearance. But none of that mattered, because he had lost Sophie. Back in Willow Bay, Sophie tried to move on, but every time she turned on the coffee machine or smelled fresh scones, she thought of him, of Luke, not the billionaire, the man who made her laugh when she felt like breaking. 3 months later, the cafe was struggling again. Bills were piling up, and Sophie considered selling. Then came the offer. A mysterious investor wanted to fund a full renovation, upgrade her kitchen, and give her full creative control without changing the name or the staff. Just one condition: she had to meet the investor in person. Reluctantly, she agreed. She walked into a newly opened building across town, expecting some suited stranger. Instead, she saw Lucas. But this time, no bodyguards, no limo, no suit, just jeans, a t-shirt, and eyes that still looked at her like she was the only person in the world. "I didn't come to buy your forgiveness," he said. "I came to show you I never stop being Luke, the man who swept your floors and fell for your fire." Tears filled her eyes. "And what if I'm still mad?" He smiled softly. "Then I'll wait, right here, until you're not." 1 year later, Hazel and Honey became a coastal favorite. Tourists came for the coffee. Locals came for the story. Sophie ran it with grace. And beside her, Lucas, still fixing pipes, still making lattes, still kissing her at closing time. She didn't fall in love with a billionaire. She fell in love with a man who left behind everything, just to find her. And this time, there were no secrets. Just love. Honest, messy, beautiful love. Thank for watching. Please like and hit the subscribe button.